the band. We got Rob Browne in Memphis this morning. I'm wearing the VMI hat, and Dave Tompkins joined us in a second. Gabe Kuhn, 51 is what I call him, 51 straight starts at Memphis, on with us this morning. Had his son on here a minute ago. You know what? As my dad said, ain't nothing more fun than kids besides making kids. There's just the best thing in the world to happen to you. And nothing will get you out of bed earlier in the morning than having kids and teach them that good old Spartan Amish work ethic. Look, you know what? Dave Tompkins, I hope he's got this interweb issue worked out. But Gabe, right now, you went to the presser yesterday for Charles Huff, the new University of Memphis football coach. We've got some games this weekend. I debate, do we call it week 0 or not? But let me say something real quick. Take a picture with your cell phone. We're doing some new stuff here. Season 41, and I'll tell you about that later. But we're going to be putting up QR codes for Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, streaming on all those channels. This is a lot of fun. We're here, history, traditions, and heroes of college football, baseball, basketball. We talk recruiting. We stay out of politics, and we stay in production. Very simple. And do this as well. Our sponsors like Landers Ford. I texted Brad Bellamy last night, the general manager, at 10 o'clock. A friend of mine said, man, I need to get an F450 truck. Now, that's a big one. It's definitely got four-wheel drive. Brad fires back, yes, I got him covered. Kent Ritchie, the great people, we know him from the Touchdown Club in Memphis. And you know what? We bring in speakers from all over the place. Gabe, what connects us is our love of the people that play the games. And I am so fired up about the season ahead because it's less talk about NIL, the portal, and our theme today is you can't come back. Don't you come back no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Gabe, if they weren't paying money, NIL, having played college football for 5 years and gone to an NFL training camp, and they weren't paying money on the college level, would any of these guys be going back?
No, not at all. And what bothers me is, looking at like guys like Daquan Wright and Xavier Harris, and I think Sark has sort of escaped a lot of the criticism that Lane Kiffin's getting. Mostly because Lane's loud and brash, and wants to be the center of attention. I think a lot of times. But if there wasn't money involved here, they would not even think about it. And they had no idea that this was even going to be an option for them. With the 5-for-5 rule being implemented right after they left, they got their feelings hurt. And Rob, man, you've managed money for the better part of your life, okay? Mm-hmm. So you've seen certain people lose money, make money. You've seen probably lawsuits involved with money, all these different things. I think there's a microcosm of society to sort of take away from this, and the idea that, man, why do we have to go to court every time we don't get our way? Yeah. Why do we have to do that? It just feels unnecessary for me, and it's getting to a point where I think all of us are just sick and tired of watching players try to do it, coaches try to do it, administrators try to do it. It's enough. It is. I love the Simpsons and Apu at the Quickie Mart. Dave Tompkins, are we going to start going to the Quickie Mart? I would like to get a judge. I mean, this is absolute BSC, and y'all know what I mean. Bat split crazy. Dave Tompkins, Gabe Kuhn, real quick though, has a friend. Gabe played at Memphis, started 51 straight games on the offensive line for Fuente and Norvell, but he's got a friend from the Army, the Black Knights of the Hudson. He was a captain,
John Voight. That name sounds familiar.
He was a defensive end.
I'm trying to an era.
Era would be between 2013 and 2017.
John Voight. That's a famous actor as well.
And his brother, believe it or not, was the COVID season home run champ in Major League Baseball, Luke Voigt.
Oh, wow. So 13 would have been, I think, Rich Ellerson's last year, and then 14 was Monken's first year. Took Monken about 2 years to get good, and then 2016, we've been pretty much bowl bound every year. So it's been a pleasure to follow the Black Knight.
Yeah, They are. I mean, and you know what? Football on all levels. And Dave, you know this. Gabe, you know it. It matters. Uh, and I am wearing the VMI hat, folks, today. Virginia Military Institute, Lexington, Virginia. It shares a campus with another school, Washington and Lee University. But I got this hat from my friend Maury D. Gaston out of Sylacauga, the marble capital of the world. All right, Gabe and Dave, we're going to start some fast track stuff. Gabe, I'll keep you on if you can stay for the first 25, 28 minutes. And then we've got Dudley Dawson from Arkansas coming on, Vince Ferrara from the Sports Animal up in Knoxville. So, Gabe, I know you got a lot going on. Let's get started. Right now, the polls are out, 1 through 25. As Tommy Tuberville used to say, they ought not to have them till about mid-October. What do you think about the rankings? Let's look at the top 5 and then go from there.
As far as the rankings are concerned, nothing is overly surprising to me. I do find it interesting that Ohio State's just sort of being defaulted to number 1 by everybody. It's not because they're not talented. It has nothing to do with that. I just feel like, especially on the defensive side of the ball, they've had to replace a lot. And, I sort of view them maybe not offensively like this, but certainly defensively like this. I view them like I viewed Georgia's defense last year, where it took some time to get things going because you have a lot of freshmen, redshirt freshmen, guys, first year in a new system. And what did we notice about Georgia last year? Early in the season, you saw that Tennessee game. They give up 44 points. And then later in the season, you see them hold Texas to 10 when Arch Manning was finally playing well. You just see these unbelievable performances down the stretch of the season because what happened? These freshmen were growing up before our eyes. So, like Ohio State getting the preseason number 1 nod, a little interesting to me because I think they're going to have a learning process. And, conversely, I think there's another team that, like, we have – I know their expectations were high last year in Texas, right? And Arch Manning and Cam Coleman now and Ryan Wingo and Trevor Gooseby and Collins. I'm going to keep going through the first-round picks just to make a point. That's how talented they are. But I feel like we put this – Arch is going to win Heisman. They're going to win a national title. Their preseason AP number 1. We put that on them last year.
Yeah.
And I never thought that was fair with a first-year starter in Arch Manning.
Yeah,
I feel like those expectations should be transferred to this year as opposed to putting them at 5 in the preseason poll. I feel like we are doing some overcorrecting because a lot of us, and I'm not talking about me or you, because I don't think me or you were assuming that Texas year 1 under Arch Manning was going to be that good. We figured they'd be good, but it'd be a learning process. But I feel like a lot of us in the media are overcorrecting this year as it pertains to Texas. I think when you look on paper, that's a top 3 roster, no questions about it.
Yeah, and Dave, your thoughts on Texas and what he just said about Ohio State. They may have a $50 million roster this year.
Yeah, I think, first off, I think the rationale behind the rankings, particularly the first rankings that come out, should perhaps be relooked. I think the overriding criteria should be who do we think right now can make the deepest run in the playoff? Not who's going to get the number 1 seed, not who's going to win their conference. Who do we think can make the deepest run in the playoff? And if I apply that litmus test, I'm probably putting Georgia as number 1. But I think the point by Gabe in terms of Texas, the more higher tier than they were last year. And Oregon, they've got a game and then a couple of easy games, a tough game. Whereas, every strong SEC team at some point in the season has to go through a multi-week gauntlet. And that's when people are going to get hurt and you're going to have to play with backups and all of that. And it's just, I don't know. I think we need to just think about, okay, once the playoff is set, and I think right now we could probably predict with 80% accuracy who's going to make the playoff. We can't predict the seeds, but we can predict who's going to make the playoff. Then we say, okay, well, who's going to make the deepest run? And I obviously a Big Ten team's going to make a deep run, but I at this point I would probably put Georgia as the team most likely to make the deepest run.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when you get to the SEC, I love Florida. I love that new coach they have, John Summerall. Gators have about a 9 or 10. Their roster's 9th or 10th most talented in the country. I think Auburn's going to be better, and I do think South Carolina is going to be better. Gabe, all right, now let me say this too. Again, our sponsors like Landers Ford, the Turner Law Firm, Mary Turner and her group in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Mary's going to jump on tomorrow. She's going to try to for 4 or 5 minutes just to, introduce herself. She's a fantastic attorney. You want somebody in the courtroom fighting for you that understands what the U.S. Constitution is? Turner Law Group. Call them. She is first class. She was recommended to me by great friends of mine, Waller May and Susan May Veterinary Clinic in Tuscaloosa since 1964. You can't get better. And I'm going to say this too, Gabe, when you talk, like Dave said, about Texas and Georgia, I've got Georgia and Miami playing for the whole thing. I've got Georgia playing Ole Miss for the SEC championship. The common denominator, and I love Kenneth Maynor over in Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, the Research Triangle, fired up for the season. Rob, albeit the home games for Florida. He's also an East Carolina graduate and a Penn State graduate. Kenneth, hadn't met you in person, but I bet your IQ is over 170. I mean, I love this guy. But Gabe, I think the common denominator is toughness. If you're not tough on your kids in today's world, they're going to collapse at the first sign of adversity.
Oh, yeah, especially in training camp. During fall camp, you have to get after them to really sort of set the tone for what they're going to see during the season and to be great and to win as many games as you need to get into a CFP. You're going to run into to sort of some issues along the way. You're going to have adversity, and being able to coach your team in a way that makes it easier when those moments arise because they've been through something similar, maybe not the same thing. That's important. It's really important. And I think Kirby, specifically Kirby, and I rock with the crystal ball aspect of this whole thing too.
Crystal ball.
They're built in the trenches. But specifically Kirby, man, I feel like he does that better than just about anybody, even with young players. I mean, Last year was a joy to watch because you had a bunch of these freshmen and guys that redshirted, stepping into these roles, and you saw them game after game after game after game, even when they struggled early in the season, get better and better and better. And I think Kirby has that down. We'll see if he can get it done this year.
Yeah, Dave, I'm wearing a North Dakota State University, the Fighting Bison, out of tribute and respect to my man, the Eggman, up on Crowley's Ridge in Wynne, Arkansas. Audrey and I went over there last night, picked up 12 dozen. Now, let's do the gazindas, Dave. 12 times 12 is 144 eggs. That's a lot of eggs. Dave Tompkins, I'm going to go back to another question for you right now. Here's a team, Tennessee. When was the last time Josh Heupel started a freshman quarterback? And what does Josh Heupel have in common with Kalen DeBoer as the two head coaches in the SEC, both hail from what state?
Oh, boy. In the upper Midwest. Is it
South Dakota? Dave, you might want to reboot.
Okay.
Dave, you want to reboot so your signal can get better? Try that. Yeah.
Better.
Dave, try to reboot because you're breaking up. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. If you can reboot Dave and come back, yeah, we'll do that. All right. Yeah. So Dave is it was close on North Dakota, but I think Heupel's from Millbrook, South Dakota, and DeBoer is from Aberdeen, South Dakota. I've spent a lot of time in South Dakota pheasant hunting. Great people up there. You know what they have in common? In the late 90s, we started going to Mount Ayr, Iowa. They all watch SEC football on these tape delay broadcasts, and they knew about Southern. They knew about Southern football.
It's either football or wrestling in that part of the world.
Yeah. And now the Eggman was a hockey player. This dude is, he is a Viking.
I forgot hockey too. Hockey too.
Dave said sometimes he just sits in his recliner when he's watching football and goes, ooh, ooh, ooh. by the way,
North Dakota, hey, I know I'm going to be a group of six nerd here for a second. North Dakota
I love it.
Jacksonville,
I want it all.
North Dakota State, Jacksonville State, week 0 game coming up this weekend. That's a good game. That's a fun game to watch. Year 1 for North Dakota State in Division 1.
The cost of cable is so high. My neighbors, if they have the blinds pulled up, I can look through the window and watch it. So I will be paying attention to it. And in between watching the replay of the nude Shriners parade in Terre Haute, Indiana this weekend. Hey, look, I like, hey, who do I think is going to win, Auburn or Florida? I'll maintain. For some reason, I think Florida's got that one. I got the Gators at 8-4. I got Auburn somewhere vacillating. I'm there between 8-4 and 9-3. I think the quarterback question, Gabe. Gabe, explain to our viewers real quick about, you hear a dual threat quarterback. You like a pocket guy as an offensive lineman, started 51 straight games. You got a guy that stands in the pocket, looks at his primary, his second, his third read.
Yep.
Then you got a guy that looks at his primary, and if he's not open, he collapses and just starts running wild. What does that do to the offensive line? And also a question from Clarence Beeks of Beeks, Duke and Duke Commodities. When an offensive lineman points like that, the center before the play, is he pointing that, hey, someone across the line, smells like onions, or tell them what they're doing?
That's our mic. We're miking. And so depending on what run scheme you have or what pass protection scheme you have, that's my point man. That's my mic. Gotcha. And we're sliding or, basing our responsibilities off where the mic is. Not everybody has to be like, oh, we're taking double team to him. We say Mike, and then everybody knows exactly what linebacker they're working to, what double team they're supposed to be working on.
Okay. I got you.
And then what was the first part there? I apologize there, Rob.
It's ADD. No, I was asking you about when a quarter. No, but seriously.
Oh, quarterback. That's exactly what it was.
He doesn't see his primary, and then he doesn't look for the second or third.
It depends on how well they're getting through their progressions. If they get to their second and third guy, then they take off and they have a nice internal clock. I can deal with that. That feels nice. But having the guy, who looks at his primary read, doesn't have it, maybe gets to the second read and then just tucks, and his first reaction is to just go straight downhill. That is one of the most frustrating possible things for an offensive line, because I don't know where to block the guy. I don't know how to block the guy. I don't know where you're going to try to escape to.
Yeah.
And if you're just so reliant on those legs, it becomes a problem. I did want to bring this up with you. Florida, and I'm seeing this around the country, and I find this to be sort of an important point to make to people that sort of, watch SEC football or, see a new coach coming in.
Yeah.
These coaches are following the Kurt Cignetti plan in a way of bringing in guys from their last stops. And I've been so impressed with what they've done at Florida with John Sumrall and Buster Faulkner, the new OC.
Yeah.
Aaron Philo comes from Georgia Tech. They have a wide receiver by the name of Eric Singleton coming from Georgia Tech. So while we always get caught up in continuity, it does feel like there's a level of continuity that we don't give some of these programs credit for, because they're bringing over guys that were together, that have familiarity with each other, and just transplanting them into a new program.
Yeah. Yeah, love of the game, love of the laundry. Always give credit. Ivan Mazel's been on the show a few times. Great author. Wrote this book, folks. American Coach Frank Leahy. He lived in an apartment, and he was a workaholic. He was pre-Saban, but his record at Notre Dame, 4 national championships in 11 years. Frank Leahy, great coach. All right, the Pirates won't win, but I expect ECU to give Alabama some of its early, fits. You think about American Conference USA, Sun Belt, Big 12, Pac-12, whatever it is, Pac-8, Big 10, the MAC. That's where we get our middle of the week college football entertainment. I love it all. But what I love seeing is guys that love to play ball. And speaking of quarterbacks, I talked to a running back coach in an SEC school one time about a quarterback, and I said, does he have anxiety attacks? And he said, well, he has panic attacks when he breaks the huddle and walks toward the line of scrimmage. And I said, that's a problem. He said, oh, yeah. I saw a quarterback throw a backwards pass one time in a major game. Some of them struggle. I don't know what the problem is. All right, want to ask you, Rob thinks Florida beats Auburn, and Auburn is something. Well, what I mean, I'm telling you, Florida, Summerall wants to show Auburn. He wants to show them, hey, you should have hired me. Hey, you know what? Florida got a great coach. Auburn got a great coach. I think those programs are both going to be better. They've been on the side of the road for 4 or 5 years with no gas, 4 bald tires, and suspended driver's license. They're coming back. Dave Tompkins on the reboot right now, brought to you by Landers Ford. Look, Harmon Insurance Agency, all these great sponsors. Folks, we're redoing the website, and our guy, Clayton Turner, America's Georgia, Shaco Studios, we're going to have his stuff up on there. But you're a sponsor on here. You're going to get in front of a lot of people. Dave, we were just talking about football outside the SEC and around the country. You mentioned Monken, and you mentioned what's going on with the United States Military Academy on the banks of the Hudson River. Who are some programs that you're seeing like a James Madison? Who's the next James Madison out there?
Wow, great question. I got I'm gonna randomly just throw out some teams, and then whichever one sort of resonates, we'll talk about them. Utah. Okay, let's think about Utah. North Carolina State. TCU. Look for USC to make a little comeback. They've got the former TCU coach as their offensive coordinator. I think Lincoln Riley. I don't think he's the coach that everyone thought he was going to be, but he's due. I think it's been a few years since DeBoer left Washington. Washington may make a little comeback in the Big Ten. No one in the Northeast really excites me. Of course, I love my Army Black Knights. I think Navy's going to have a pretty good year in the American Conference. Who in the American Conference is also going to be good? I think the programs at the top, Memphis, Florida, they're all replaced coaches because they've become the SEC feeder school. So not sure about them. Everyone's saying that Oklahoma State's going to make a big comeback this year. So I haven't scouted them enough to have a point of view, but I'm sure Gabe knows a lot more about this than I do. But there's some schools to kind of chew on.
Yeah, Gabe, and both of y'all, the 706, the estate tax return, once it's completed on the estate of T. Boone Pickens Jr., I would imagine Oklahoma State will be receiving a check in the mail. He gave $350 million to them at one time, and I remember Brent Musburger up there in the press box. You are looking live at T. Boone Pickens Stadium. I mean, the guy was doing everything but sell popcorn for the Cowboys. Dave, you were at the press conference yesterday. I'm Gabe. Dave and Gabe. Gabe and Dave. Dave and Gabe. No.
And when I say Gabe to some people, say I'm giving my order at Starbucks, they always confuse me for Dave.
And Gabe and Dave. Now Dave and Gabe. But anyway, all right, what did Charles Huff? Charles Huff, was at Alabama. He's been around, but he went to Marshall. He won. He went to Southern Miss last year, took him from 2 to 7 wins. We all grew up. When you went to Hattiesburg, that was the Trail of Tears, man. I mean, you better be ready to play a full 60 because they would get after your ass, man. And that's what I love about college football. The East Carolina, you know what my ultimate dream matchup is in a bowl game? Is Arkansas versus East Carolina, because you'll have the Pirate Convention. Arkansas versus the Pirates of East Carolina. Gabe, go ahead.
All right, so the Charles Huff interview or presser yesterday. I actually had him on my show as well. Shameless plug. Every Tuesday, 3:30 p.m.
Keep going. I love it.
6:80 a.m. Download the Odyssey app. Gabe Kuhn Show. But man, I thought he was very thoughtful yesterday. I think the biggest thing about Charles Huff right now, heading into Week 0 against UNLV, is the secrecy. I mean, he has been as secret as possible.
Yeah.
And this guy just continues to amaze me with like his thoughtfulness and how together maybe he does it behind the scenes. Okay. I've gotten to meet him. I've gotten to be around him. It certainly seems like he does behind the scenes when I don't see him in front of a mic, but he seems like he's got it all together every time he gets up in front of the mic. Yeah. He was asked about the sort of secretive nature of the way he's been acting in the preseason. And, we usually assume, guys, we usually assume, hey, that's because he doesn't want to give UNLV all the secrets. He doesn't want to get you that week one opponent done. But he actually turned that around and said, that's kind of maybe third or fourth on the list of why I want to be secretive. He talked about it being the transfer portal era and not wanting to upset the apple cart and still wanting the twos, the second string guys, to prep like their starters heading into game week. And I thought that was a brilliant way to put it because the way I've been talking about it is, you don't want Dan Mullen to get any beats on him. I think he's playing it the right way because of that. But he talked about how, Power 4 coaches, as soon as you put out a depth chart, will look at who your starters are, circle them and say, okay, we're going to watch them the rest of the year. And the way he explained that was, listen, they're going to figure it out after the UNLV game anyway, but I'm not going to do their homework for them. And I came away really amazed with sort of the way his mind works. And, when you're that secretive and you're sort of withholding things from fans in particular, people can get peeved.
Yeah.
And I think the explanations he gave yesterday has definitely done enough to help, the fan base hold off until Saturday to see who runs out there at quarterback and everything. But this week 0 game, guys, Memphis UNLV, it's a massive one for the group of 6, but neither side knows anything.
Yeah.
Neither side knows. I brought on Steve Cofield from ESPN Las Vegas on the show yesterday, and he made it very clear. Yeah, we're just as in the dark.
All right, Gabe, tell people how they can follow you. Man, thank you more than you know for sharing your time with us. I love it.
Yep. Just find me on X at G_Kuhn71. Same thing on Instagram. And come listen to the show. We have great guests.
You do.
Football season on the way. We are locked and loaded. If I tell people at this time of year, I know we go through like the summer struggles in sports talk, right? But if this time of year, once you hit this Monday, going into week 0, if you run out of things to talk about, you ain't doing it the right way.
Yeah.
So listen in 92.9 FM, ESPN, 680 AM if you're in Memphis, or go to the Odyssey app and listen to the Gabe Kuhn Show 3 to 6.
Hey, look, Gabe, thank you. We'll do it again next week. Appreciate it. I'll get you some eggs Thursday or Friday from the Eggman.
Perfect.
All right. Take care. Dave, we're looking around, and Dudley Dawson will be on here in a second. Yeah, go ahead. Dave, you broke up there for a second, but we got Dudley Dawson on here right now. Dudley, welcome back. Man, we've been off a couple of weeks. Your daughter got married out in Denver?
Yes, Boulder, Colorado. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. It was expensive. It was worth it.
A very conservative town in the mountains, of course. Very, very a lot of church-going folks out there, and yeah, it's wild. Dave Tompkins is on here with us, and I know Vince Ferrara will be on in just a minute. Gabe, that gummit Dudley. You know what? We were talking yesterday. Vince sent a text last night. I am so wound up. We took a couple of weeks off, been through a lot, but this is therapy, man. I love this show, communicating with everybody. Talk about the starting quarterback, KJ. I believe he played his high school football in Montgomery, Alabama. He's got a pretty cool story, but he is now the starter for Ryan Silverfield in year 1.
Yeah, and the backup quarterback's always the most popular quarterback, obviously, and that's how he was last year, even when Taylor Green was having great success and some big time mistakes that would lead to scores for the other team. But you can see the potential. You can see the arm. He's a leader. You can see that out there, and I think the risk reward lands with him, and looking forward to seeing how he plays. Obviously at North Alabama that gets going this weekend. They'll have a game on Arkansas, but as Gabe was saying, the August is maybe not necessarily the best month if you're a sports writer. Kind of slow. I took off a lot of it because of Camille's wedding. But we went to see Noah Khan. We saw some girl named Ella Langley Saturday night in Little Rock. I think she's got a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a freshman at Auburn when my son was there, and he said
I heard he should have locked that up in, you know.
He didn't know her. He was a Phi Mu. He goes, she just was like, there's a lot of girls that are good looking, but I mean, no one who saw that coming. But she did she sing about Texas?
Yes, she did. She sang about Texas, and she wanted to be her, and all those good songs. And she's got a little rock in her show too. So, but Drake was there. That was weird. Drake didn't just pop into Little Rock every once in a while. So, but it was a good month. I'm ready for football. 63rd birthday is Sunday. I'm going to celebrate it Saturday by sitting in front of my TV watching football, whatever's on. And morning till past midnight. And I guess the UNLV Memphis game is one of the later ones. So look forward to watching that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, football all day. Dave, jumping here with Dudley Dawson. And by the way, rest in peace. Never to forget Dolly Parton. God almighty. What an American icon. I mean, I saw an interview this morning on TV where she would go in. There'd be 25 people on the set recording a song. She knew everybody's name, knew everybody about their kids within a week, their names. Genuine, authentic, man. Just be who you say you are. Dolly Parton, she is going to live on forever. Found out she wrote that song, I Will Always Love You, with Porter Wagner, and Elvis was going to sing it, but apparently the kindly manager, Colonel Tom Parker, what a saint he was, said, well, we'd have to own the production rights or something, but man, she'll live on forever. Dave, jump in here, please.
Yeah, I found out this morning that she wrote that song and Jolene on the same day. I mean, you talk about like two sort of all-time opuses done on the same day. Most of us don't get that much done in a lifetime.
Yeah. And I want to say too,
one day out of
love you that was beloved by everybody. You don't hear anybody with any bad things to say about her except Jolene.
Yeah. And I want to say too about One Stone Angel. I love this guy. He's at UAMS Dudley in Little Rock going through treatment, cancer, and he's in isolation right now. Our prayers are always with you. Just know that. And all of you watching this show, it's all about being authentic and who you are. But I love the stories of our viewers and the stories that we tell on this show. But we had to say that about Dolly. She grew up very dirt poor and never forgot where she came from. And man, did she ever give back. You want to talk about living a great life. 2 songs in one day, I Will Always Love You and Jolene. As my dad used to say, if you ever heard Elvis sing How Great Thou Art and that didn't bring you to tears, there's something wrong with your ass. That's just my opinion. Dudley, we're talking about the Hogs right now. Jim McClellan and Pat called me last week from Frisco, Colorado, lifelong Razorbacks. He said, what do you think we're going to do this year? I said, well, I think the Razorbacks win 5, maybe 6, but that's a 100% improvement over last year. People say, well, that's no big deal. You're talking about a cultural change. I've watched Ryan Silverfield a long time, and he's really great at one thing, building and winning and uniting. And hopefully Vince Ferrara will be on here with us momentarily. There he is. Okay, go ahead, Dudley.
As I've said, a couple times on this show, I really think the accountability has taken a step forward, against an SEC schedule and what they have, going out to Utah, that second game. It's going to be tough. I've been joking that they can be twice as good as they were last year. People think about that for a second, and they realize that it's 4 wins. I think he's come in and done the best that he can.
Yeah.
In today's college landscape, by the way, is 8-year players, are they eligible today? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Arkansas added 3 defensive guys in secondary since fall practice started. Now, one of them's going to be able to play, but the other 2 right now, under the current ruling, are not going to be able to. This is just nuts, guys. Let's get to the games. You know how much, and I've talked about, how much I love Matlock and I love Perry Mason, but I want the legality out of it.
Yeah. Well, if you want an example of what we're dealing with in college right now, those of you old enough to watch the Beverly Hillbillies, and it's on live TV every night, 2 different channels, nothing but Beverly Hillbillies. You remember Sonny Drysdale the worthless ne'er-do-well stepson of Milburn, Margaret Drysdale's son, 37 years old and still in college, Harvard. He was the ladies' man at Vassar and Wellesley. Imagine they all look like Jane Hathaway, but somebody had to be that man. Hey, Vince.
He looked like Dash Riprock.
Yeah, Dash Riprock was a badass. Vince Ferrara, one of the best, the sports animal in Knoxville. Touchdown Club Monday night. We had Tony Barnhart there. I'm going to tell you one thing, man. There was so much talk about college football. It's in the air. And you know what I'm saying right now? Everybody said, Tennessee's starting a freshman quarterback. Has Heupel ever done that? Who knows better than Vince Ferrara, 99.1, the sports animal. He's been up since 4:30 this morning preaching the good word, man. How are you?
I'm good, guys. Great to be back on the show. And yeah, can we talk about games? Like, is that allowed? let's do that at some point. But yeah, you're right. The freshman quarterback thing is not something that we have seen under Josh Heupel. In fact, it's all to start a season. Freshmen have played at Tennessee, but to start a season, it's only happened one time, and that was 2004 with Brent Schaefer when he was kind of splitting time with Eric Ainge, and then right after that, Ainge became the guy. But it was Schaefer that started that opener. It's a different situation. It's a different world, but it's a different situation because this one is just Faison Brandon. You know, Heupel will say every position week to week, all that kind of fun stuff, but they didn't pick him because they thought, well, just for the matchup with Furman, that's our guy. They picked him because they have the most confidence in him that he is the guy. The talent is all there. The work ethic is all there. The maturity is all there. Even with all those things, there's still going to be freshman times and periods and moments. But, man, the guy has kind of a flatlining type of emotion, which is what you want to see. He's a cool customer. He didn't go back to his home state of North Carolina at all in the off season. His family came to see him just so he could have all the access to all the facilities, and he'd put in the work in the facility every day. So when you have talent and work ethic, it's going to rise above the rest, and that's what's happened with Faison Brandon being named the starting quarterback at Tennessee.
Yeah, and I love it. Kenneth Maynor over in the Research Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. Glad to finally be talking about games instead of lawsuits, litigation, and conference realignment. Oh, hallelujah. Dave Tompkins, I know you got a question for Dudley on Arkansas or Vince on Tennessee, but man, I love it. I can feel it. It's palpable. And the only thing tougher is the humidity. It's 127 right now here in the Memphis area with the humidity. But, God, I love this stuff. Dave, jump in.
Yeah, so I have a question for Vince. Who's the toughest road game for Tennessee this year? Is it Texas A&M?
It is. Yeah, I think Texas A&M and Texas are maybe the two overall toughest games. Certainly depends what LSU looks like, but yeah, that venue is jacked up as it will be. And look, if they're having a great season, they're going to need that game to bridge them, to get them for the Texas game to matter. So there'll be plenty of stakes, I would imagine, for A&M there. They'll be full throat. An opponent that doesn't come in there very often. Butch Jones and Alvin Kamara and that group went there, back then, but it's not a regular opponent, so the newness is a positive. And A&M will be a top 10-ish team, so that is the toughest road game for Tennessee.
Dudley, toughest road game.
And back to Dolly, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Utah early in the season, and obviously the SEC, they've got a lot of games. A&M on the road. One interesting thing with Arkansas, not playing in Little Rock this year, not playing in Arlington. Those games are, it's home and home now. I'm happy with that. Being a Cowboys fan, I enjoyed going down to those games and covering Arkansas on Saturday, watching the Cowboys Sunday. But the schedule very, very tough. Obviously, the Utah game is probably as big a game as Arkansas has, because it will set the tone in week 2.
Yeah, I do think it's a big game. Even though Kyle Whittingham left and went to Michigan, And they've got a $500 million, Dave Tompkins, $500 million private equity investment in the athletic department at Utah. And you know how kind and forgiving the private equity people are. So your thoughts about Arkansas, their team, Tennessee, both with freshman quarterbacks. It is unusual.
If that was for me, obviously J. Jackson has a little bit of experience. He did well in the time that he's had, but he is, going into is the full-time guy, for the first time in a college situation. I think he's going to do well. They have very good running backs. They're very good wide receivers. They feel real confident about their offensive linemen now. Those dudes have some weird haircuts that they've gotten during fall camp. But, you kind of like to see that personality a little bit when they're not worried about what they look like. They're worried about how they play.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be good. Again, I just caution everybody because of that schedule and all that. But I'll give Coach Silverfield credit. He may not be the funniest guy in the world, but he seems like he loves challenges and he's got one.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of his. Dave, there was a delay. I didn't mean to miss over you, but raise your hand if you can hear me. I'm not sure, but we got a little. Okay, there we go. Go ahead. We had a Plymouth Duster on the line here. Go ahead.
I've been messing around with my microphone. So if you recall back to Hurricane Katrina, in the aftermath of Katrina, that's when the Saints won their Super Bowl. And I think, in all respect to Dolly and her passing, I think a Tennessee team is going to win a national championship this year, or Rick Barnes is finally going to punch through the Elite Eight and get to the Final Four. Something great is going to happen in the Volunteer State this year in the wake of Dolly's passing. That's my prediction as we head into week 0.
Yeah, and you know what, Vince, I got to ask you something. I know Oklahoma, at a tribute to Toby Keith at the end of the third quarter, plays one of his songs at their football stadium. I mean, look, I don't care who you're a fan of. You love Dolly and Tennessee. My wife, I live with Evolve for life. But what do you think they'll do some tributes for her? Because I know she loved Tennessee and where she was from. And
I could see maybe a butterfly decal on the helmets. I think you could see something like that. They'll certainly, I would think, have an announcement, maybe a moment of silence at some point. But it would not surprise me if not only Tennessee has that butterfly decal on their helmets, maybe even a number of high schools, Sevier County High School, where her backyard for sure, where Dollywood is, and what an amazing human being. I wish I would have had the opportunity to meet her. I had never had that opportunity. So many in our building did, because we had the legendary country station WIVK in our building, News Talk 98.7. So they've had a few more opportunities. But man, someone that doesn't look at race, at your bank account, what your tax bracket is, can look at everyone for who they are, treat everybody beautifully and the same, and not be impacted by your stardom. And she always recalled where she came from. She didn't act like a star, and then treated you, wanted to make you feel special like a star from everyone's accounts. The Children's Hospital renamed after her, and then all of the children's books in her imagination library that she has done. So just can't speak enough about her impact here in our community, actually globally, but definitely here in our backyard.
Yeah, no question. Quick question for Tennessee, then back to Dudley, and then Dave. We got the quarterback situation solved, but Tennessee's offensive line, Pete Cordelli's been saying all summer on the Monday show with Ellis and Dave Bartu, Ellis Johnson, Tennessee might have the best offensive line in the SEC. Certainly got some really good running backs. And then good news on Arian Carter. He won't be available against Furman, but when you go down to the flats to play Georgia Tech, you're going to need all hands on deck, aren't you?
Yeah, a number of really good points there, Rob. I'll try to be quick on all of them. I'll start with Ariel Carter on the back end. Danny White saying that yes, two is better than one is better than two in terms of suspensions. They got it down, but the NCAA's rule is antiquated. It's antique. They need to adjust, and so at least it's just for the Furman game. So many fans are still saying, "Well, they should play him anyway." No, they shouldn't have played him anyway, even when it was a 2-game suspension, much less one. It's risk reward. It's just not worth it. And I know everyone just wants to throw the middle finger up to the NCAA, but and you would maybe, who knows, maybe the NCAA will come to their senses and realize, what a bad decision it was in the first place that they didn't adjust to the time. So yes, that's a big positive. The running back position, that might be, we talked about linebacker being their deepest group. That might end up being their strongest position is running back. That's how good that room has been. Javen Gordon, the transfer from Tulane, has been phenomenal, just like he was in the spring. DeJuan Morris, who's a speedster, he had a 99-yard rushing touchdown in the first scrimmage with his breakaway speed. So he's a little bit different guy that they can split out and do some different things with. And then they feel good about their fourth back, but probably not going to get to Justin Baker. But then Deshaun Bishop is a returning 1,000-yard rusher, really productive, gets in the end zone, and he's bigger and stronger than he was last year. And so that's something that will help a young quarterback. And then you mentioned the offensive line. It's still not settled with their first five yet. So Rob, I agree. They have the potential to be one of the better units, if not the best unit. But we don't know what the five is going to look like just yet. I thought Ori Williams, the LSU transfer, would have already locked down the right tackle spot. He has not. They're still trying to motivate him. They're taking away snaps from him by playing Jesse Perry, the right guard, there at right tackle, and they'll play somebody else at right guard, one of a couple of guys. So they're still trying to figure out their first five, but they'll have 4 or 5 returning starters, and they'll be big and stout regardless of which five they go with.
Yeah, and Dudley, talking about, I like this, Bama better watch out, Vandy winning it all. Right now, every SEC camp feels like this could be their year. Maybe it's the portal, maybe it's the NIL, or all of the above. But I love it. Hey, motivation will get you to the gym. Discipline will keep you coming back. What's going on in Arkansas? We ain't talking about that we better be paying attention to, and tell people how they can follow you, because you put out a ton of great content. Both of you do. And Dave and I are just honored to be on here with y'all. And thanks all of you for watching, and share it, like it, subscribe. We're here to serve.
I would say that the thing that probably not a lot of people have kept a look at is Braylon Russell, who at one point got here. He was 260 pounds. He's a running back. He wasn't fat. He was just big. But, sometimes that kept him from, sprinting away from people. And he would run over them. But he is down to 225, 230, and the speed's there. I think he's going to have a breakout year. He's one of 4 running backs in that room that could easily be the main guy and get tons of carries. But these days in college football, as you guys know, sometimes it's running back by committee. I don't know that they're going to be able to get 4 of them great snaps, but you have a lot of competition that's going to help raise that, and that's going to help KJ Jackson. Is from old school, as you know, running sets up everything else. And so I think that's one thing. Also, obviously, the Arkansas's got a very, very good basketball talent on the campus. They do have one guy that's an international guy, Miko Mahan, who I guess I read, and I'll go back and read again today because it may change. The international player may or may not be able, if he played for a certain team over there, be able to play. So again, legality, man,
Yeah.
And then baseball's really good. And Dave Van Horn went to the bank recently and put in a big old check. And anybody who thought he was going to be going away, again, as John Belushi would say, can suck it, I guess, because the 2031 got a raise, well earned, and he's looking forward to they've got 4 exhibitions, and I like that. It's okay to go watch some scrimmage and all that, but I like outside competition. You always get better outside competition, and people will say that that doesn't matter in the fall. Well, it does. You get on the field, you try to win. Period.
Yeah.
End of story.
I agree. Great moments in Tennessee football history brought to you by Matej's Garage, as Nigel calls it. Matej's Garage, 4930 Black Road in East Memphis, right there, Poplar and Mendenhall area next to Folks Folly, 8 to 6 p.m., 8 a.m., 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Was over there yesterday getting the rear brakes fixed on Miss Audrey's sedan. I'm used to driving a truck, but I drove a sedan. Gets better gas mileage, I can tell you that, than most. But my F-150 is the king of the road. But got some work done. They're the best people. Will, Andrew, Dean. Dean's been there 37 years. Those guys work. Power goes out. It doesn't matter. Matej's Garage. You'll see them on our new website, the hyperlink. But 3 best quarterbacks in Tennessee history from the state of North Carolina are the Silver Streak, Jimmy Streeter. I would say Heath Schuler from North Carolina. And most recently, Hendon Hooker from Greensboro, North Carolina. That's my pick for the top 3. And Dave, quickly, what both of these folks are saying about Arkansas and Tennessee, my theory, the tectonic plate theory. What is a surprise that you think either one of them? What's best case scenario?
Well, I'm glad that week 1, Labor Day week, is not a great weekend for football or as great as it normally is. I got to be on the road at like 0400 Tuesday morning. But then week 2 is a tremendous week. You got Ohio State traveling to Austin. You got Oklahoma traveling to Ann Arbor. And then you've got, kind of a trap. You have Tennessee going to Grant Field. And I think Tennessee is going to prevail. But I think in the fourth quarter, it's going to be, hey, those first 2 games, whoa, let's look at this, go down to Atlanta and see what's going on there because we've got us a ball game. I think if Tennessee can get past that trap game, they got the tough game that Vince talked about at Texas A&M, but they've got some really good, favorable matchups at home. I think 11-1 is the upside for Tennessee. I think Tennessee, but
Well, Dave, you're breaking up. Hey, Dave, try to reboot because we can't hear you if you can. But I think you said 11-1 is the best case scenario, 10-2. And I've got Arkansas winning 5 or 6, which means if they win 6 and go to a bowl game, they can win 7.
Yeah, and I've got 4. Arkansas winning 4, as I said. I got one pet peeve, and I understand why they came up with this moniker, but I do not like the term week 0.
I hate it.
You play games. That's week 1. The week 0 is you're not playing. So week 1.
Yeah. All right, Vince, Tennessee. Dave thinking 11-1. I've been saying all along, people are sleeping on Tennessee. I'm a big Josh Heupel fan. I don't know. There's something about him. I just like him. I think he's a hell of a coach. Let's go back right now. What happened last year with Joey Aguilar? 8 wins, could have been more. How devastating was that turnover on the goal line right before the end of the first half in the Tennessee-Alabama game? And your thoughts on the orange jerseys and crimson jerseys, because I absolutely love it. And I'm wondering if someone like Farrell Calhoun Paint Stores is going to sponsor it.
Yeah, I mean, anyone should be a part of it. The color, the home colored uniforms is something that a lot of us have been talking about. Why does this not happen in college football? Not only for Tennessee, Alabama, but for other, big time rivalry games. And no, not their alternate uniforms. They're pure traditional color home uniforms. That's what we want to see, especially with the ones to contrast. As far as the predictions, man, I think 11-1, you'd have to have so many things work out perfectly. It's a 9-game SEC schedule. I mean, the Vegas over/under doesn't have anyone more than 9.5. So, 11-1 would be special. I obviously Faison Brandon would need to be. I think he will be special, but to get that from a true freshman quarterback, maybe against the SEC, maybe asking a little bit too much. There'll be some down moments, but he's going to show that he has star ability. There's no doubt. And then you need the defense to come back from being one of the worst in the league a year ago. They'll be much, much better, but they'd have to be elite to be 11-1 against this schedule. So, injuries, nobody's super deep. I'd say 8 in terms of my win total for Tennessee, with an upside, maybe a game or two above that.
Well, if Tennessee wins 11, Miss Audrey is going to be clogging. I mean, she's going to go crazy. And so is cousin Mark.
Legitimately clogging?
Yeah, well, I mean, yahoo! Hey, Indian Pass Pirate. I love this guy. By the way, that's technically not the Big Bend area of Florida, but Apalachicola Bay oysters. You can't get any better than the Florida Panhandle. Gator Nation, massive fan base. I'll tell you what I love is doing this show is hearing from the fans. Let's do this quickly. We only got a couple of minutes left. Dave, give me your top 5 best you think right now SEC teams. Then I'll go to Dudley and then Vince, and then we'll have to wrap it up on this Wednesday, August 24th. But you know what's coming in 3 days, as they say in the Deep South? Saturday. I think there's a T in there somewhere. Go ahead.
Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Texas, LSU.
Wow. Dudley?
With or without pro players?
That's a great question. With that, Dudley, by the way, lives at Reynolds Razorback Stadium. And by the way, the naming rights yet, they have been sold. The new name is?
Right. It will take the all the signage and all that will be up next year, but the 7 years, that's something Hunter Yurchek, obviously worked with people to get done. And that's going to infuse a lot of money in the program. But as for my top 5, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama, and then because you just don't know if Tom Brady's somehow going to come out of retirement and play quarterback at LSU. I guess I'll go LSU in 5.
Okay. All right. Vince Ferrara from Tampa, Florida, lives in Knoxville.
1 and 2 is tough. I've been talking myself into both at different times, but I will go Texas 1, Georgia 2. I think people that think that Arch Manning isn't going to be very good because of a report or two in practice, not buying it. Cam Coleman, the receiver, line of scrimmage, all the transfers. So I'll go Texas 1, Georgia 2, Ole Miss 3. I'll go Texas A&M 4 and LSU 5.
Okay. And my top 5 are Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. So that ought to tell you, guys, we got a deep league. Would y'all all agree?
Yes.
Okay. And I agree with that question. A lot of weird stuff going on the internet. I don't know if it's the heat or whatever, but who could be busier right now in the South than the Heat and Air Man? I mean, and the Heat and Air Man is just he's the MVP right now. Guys, great show.
Pac-12 still what do they call it? It's still the Pac-12. I saw a thing. They're going to now join the SEC and Big Ten and saying no pros. So.
Well, and Patrick Mahomes was spotted in Lubbock in a Texas Tech green jersey at practice. Is that true? I mean, what, Dave, are you going back in the Army now?
Yeah, I'm going to be a second lieutenant next week. 63 years old.
There you go. Man, whoa!
Great age.
I love this.
I'll be 63 on Sunday. That's a great age.
Think of your 63% of your goal there to being 100, man. Hey, life is great, man. Most often we see the face of Christ.
63 on their license plate.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, great stuff. Vince Ferrara, Dudley Dawson, Gabe Kuhn, Dave Tompkins. Man, I tell you what, I love this stuff, man. Everybody share it, like it, subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, and website sidelines.live. It's about ready for launch. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.